Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityo ma amritam gamaya abhirabhirma eti rudrayate dakshinamukam te namam pahinityam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through, and guide us evermore with thy loving presence. Peace, peace, peace be unto all beings. Well, I'm happy to see all of you here this evening. It's a little unusual to have a Tuesday evening meeting during July and August, and we're very fortunate to have Swami Baneshananda visiting us for a few days from his center in Germany. It happened to be in midweek, and it's very nice to see so many of you able to attend. Swami Baneshananda is a senior monk of our order. He had the blessing and privilege of having his monastic formation with a very highly respected and much beloved monk of our order, who many of you have met when he visited here in 1988, Swami Baneshananda, who was president and spiritual leader of our order for about 10 years in the 1990s, and was closely associated with him not only when he joined the order, but also later when he was posted at headquarters for 9 years. So being at headquarters for 9 years, plus 2 years of training center, and having those associations with our senior monks is a very blessed privilege that's not given to a lot of our monks. He's been in Germany for a year and a half, and other than the pioneering work that was done there by Swami Yatishwarananda, who lived there before the Second World War, we haven't had a center in Germany until an official center until Swami Baneshananda was posted there a year and a half ago. So there is a great deal of interest among our devotees about what constitutes the work and what he's been doing in Germany. So before starting on his announced topic, his very vital topic, the inner realities of the mind, he will speak a little bit about the work in Germany. Now, since this is such a vital topic, it usually arouses a lot of interest in the devotees when Swami talks about this topic. So after the collection tonight, for those of you that have time, Swami will be taking questions about the topic. So without taking any more of his time, I request Swami Baneshananda to speak. And rather than sitting back there where I can't hear, I'm going to sit in the front row where I can hear.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Dear Swami Nispapanandaji and dear friends, as you have heard from Swamiji, that before the Second World War, there was a center of Ramakrishna order in Germany which was headed by Swami Yatiswarananda. Then the situation changed and he had to leave Germany. And after that, we did not have any official center. But later on, some enthusiastic devotees started inviting Swami Ranganathanandaji to deliver lectures at various places. Like he would come to West Germany, give a lecture there, and then he would be taken to the no man's land and delivered to the East German devotees. They would take him to Humboldt University, he would give lecture there and come back like that. This went on for a long time, and he himself felt the necessity of an official center there. So he inspired devotees to establish a center. But it did not take place until some 10 years ago, when some devotees gathered some money and bought the house in which our present center is located. This is a spacious house, but it is in a countryside. It is on the verge of a big forest. This is the first house after the forest. So you know how many guests you can expect from wilderness. So we enjoy their company, and it is also 600 meters above sea level, and it snows there heavily. But our house accommodates some guests. Since it is not in a town and people cannot come every weekend, so we conduct a retreat for 3 days in a month. Every month, a 3-day retreat. During Easter, 4 days, and during Pentecost, 4 days retreat. And at the end of the year, we have a year-end retreat. They call it seminar in German. We have a year-end retreat for 7 days. So like that, these are the activities there. And some devotees come there to stay, to take the benefit of the spiritual ambience of that place. And one weekend I go to Frankfurt to hold a 4-hour retreat there, generally on second Saturdays. And then one weekend we have a lecture in some university. Then one weekend in some other towns like Hamburg, Berlin, Bonn, Cologne, Remscheid, Wuppertal, like that, various places. So we are quite busy in that sense. And the center has just started, so a lot of groundwork has to be done. So we are doing those things. But it is inspiring to work there, particularly when you are placed at a place where you don't know the language and you are facing the toughest rules in the world. They are the people who follow rules like anything. So, all rules and regulations, and the police is almost robotic about carrying out their responsibilities. So, and you know, it is known for its speed in Germany. Autobahns are known for its speed. So everything is very serious there. So, but I find it is really inspiring to do some spiritual work. In the beginning, I thought, if it is God's work, then no one can stop it. He has His will and His own ways how to do works and by whom it has to be done. So our duty is just to obey his rules or obey his will. So things are going on well in that sense. That is why I get some time to come over here and to visit my friends and people here. Now that is all about the center, because it is 1.5 years old, so you cannot expect much report about the activities there. Now about the topic. This is also a very serious topic. This is a serious topic, not that we do not know anything about the mind. It is the same thing which I am going to repeat to you, but I have a different way of looking at it, like studying the mind anatomically. It is something very new, but at the same time it helps us to understand our mind. The subject, the inner realities of the mind, is in a way very simple, because each one of us has a mind. So if we talk about our own mind, it is not difficult to understand. But in a way it is really difficult. To some extent it is mind-boggling. Because when you study something, you fix a subject and an object. I want to look at the microphone. So microphone is the object and I am the subject. So I can know the microphone, I can study the microphone. But when we take up mind as the object, who is the subject? Mind itself is the subject and it becomes the object. That is why you'll see in psychology, all the great psychologists have divided the mind into a few parts, so that one part can observe the other part, a few levels like that. My talk or discussion is based on the yoga philosophy and the Vedanta teachings. I have also drawn some ideas from the psychology of Jung, Freud, Sri Aurobindo, and of course Swami Vivekananda's ideas. So I will just start with some statistical understanding of the various realities inside the mind. According to yoga and Vedanta, mind is matter, but subtle matter. If the thing becomes subtle, its properties change. Subtle things become more pervasive and penetrating. Therefore, this mind is a matter, but it is a very subtle matter. With the help of this mind, we can study gross matter. Mind has its position or location. According to yoga, philosophy and Vedanta, mind is conveniently and comfortably situated between the physical level and the spiritual level. So they say, with one's own effort, one can degrade oneself to the physical level or uplift oneself to the spiritual level, because it is in between, just one step. They say the distance between hell and heaven is always the same. It matters to which direction we are going, that's all. But the distance from hell and heaven is always the same. So this mind can degrade us to the physical level, to the material level, or at the same time it can uplift us to the spiritual heights. This is the location. What is the composition of this mind? Mind is constituted of three things, three qualities. They are sattva, rajas, and tamas. The quality of tranquility and quality of activity, quality of inertia. Sattva is tranquility, rajas is activity, tamas is inertia. These are the three qualities. It is difficult to understand the qualities which constitute the mind. I would give you a simple example. This will make things clear. Suppose you have a circle, just a circle, drawn on the board. If you look at this circle, what do you feel? What is your feeling about that circle? Now, I draw another circle with lot of dots inside. You look at the circle and I ask you to count the dots in the circle. What is your feeling? Now, if I draw another circle with a few hatched lines, you look at the circle, what is your feeling? I will tell you the feelings. When you look at the simple circle, you don't feel any disturbance. That is the idea of sattva. Quality is tranquility. You don't find any disturbance, though you see the circle. But when you look at the second circle and I ask you to count the dots, you feel disturbed. That is the quality which is called activity. And when you look at the third circle with all hatched lines, you look at some boring lines, you feel the inertia. These are the things which make the mind. These are the three qualities. Then the mind has got a few faculties. So I have said that mind has its location or position and mind has its composition. Now, the mind's faculties, it acts in various ways. They have found 4 faculties of the mind. In Sanskrit, they are called sattva, rajas, manas, buddhi, chitta, ahamkara. Manas is just mind, cogitating minds. Buddhi is the deciding mind, intellect. Chitta is memory. Ahamkara is I consciousness or individuality. These are the 4 faculties. When the mind is working as manas, it is not working as buddhi. The same mind works at different levels and from different angles. So manas means just we are thinking, many thoughts are passing by. We are not registering any one of them. Then it is called manas. Buddhi, we register one of them. Oh, this I want to do. Or this I have forgotten, so I have to do it. Like that. So buddhi decides. Chitta is the memory where all these impressions are stored up. It is like the hard disk in a computer. You have all the memory stored up there. Ahamkara is the I consciousness, individual idea. It is I who is seeing, it is I who is thinking, it is I like that. So it makes the individual aware of its limitations or dimensions. That's all. So these are the 4 faculties of the mind. Then the mind has got levels. So we have discussed the location of the mind, the constitution of the mind, then the faculties of the mind, and now I say the levels of the mind. It has 3 levels. There are many levels. If you read Aurobindo's philosophy, he has got 7 levels. Similarly, other levels are also there, but I don't take those into consideration because if you combine them together, they have 3 levels. One is called the conscious level, another is the subconscious level, another is the superconscious level. What is the difference between these 3? Conscious level means when we are in the waking state. Now we are talking and you are listening. So this state is called the conscious state. This is the conscious level. It is easy to understand. What is subconscious? When we are dreaming or we are in deep sleep, that level is called the subconscious level. And what is superconscious level? This is very difficult to understand, but still I would give you an example to know what would be the state or level of superconscious mind. Suppose we are dreaming. In the dream we saw a tiger chasing us. Then as soon as I wake up, I see that I am in my bed, there is no tiger, so I get assured that nobody is chasing me. But at the same time, I feel that my heart is beating very hard here. That happened in dream. So when I wake up, then the dream becomes a dream, not before that. As long as I was dreaming, it was real. But when I wake up, the tiger becomes unreal. The dream becomes unreal. Similarly, when we are able to wake up from the waking state, where the waking state becomes unreal or like a dream, that state or level is called the superconscious level or state. We have to imagine this. Waking up from the dream, we are in the conscious state. Waking up from the conscious state, we will be in the superconscious state. That is the superconscious level. These are the three simple things. Now, the mind works in two ways. So you can remember that we have discussed some points. The location of the mind, the constitution of the mind, and then the faculties of the mind, then what? Levels of the mind. There are three levels of the mind. And then I would just talk about how the mind works. There are two ways for the mind to work. One is the reactive way, another is the creative way. And in modern day corporate language, you may hear proactive way, but that is something you are taught to deal with various tricks. But here they have got only reactive and creative, these two ways the mind works. Our knowledge about the mind's work is mostly reactive, but there is a creative way. Reactive, if we understand reactive, then we know what is creative. Reactive is, suppose I am walking along the road, somebody comes and just gives me a blow. Immediately I give him another blow and a kick also. This is reaction. So it happens there is a particular way, by a procedure by which it is happening. When I get a blow, this blow is converted into a kind of want. There is still smaller and smaller division, I am not going into it, but it creates a kind of want in me to do something. Then in the inner recesses of our mind, at the hard disk level, there is a deep scan, quick scan. It happens very quickly, and I am prompted by the subconscious mind that in such and such earlier occasions you reacted with one blow and two kicks. But here I reconsider it and give one blow and one kick, like that. So this is a kind of reaction which happens. It goes inside, takes the reference, comes out with a reaction. What is creative action? Creative is just inside out. It comes from within and comes out. That is the only way. That is why we cannot refer to any particular process, so we call it intuition. Sometimes we don't know how it happens, so we call it intuition. So these are the two ways of the mind to work. And then I will talk about the nature of the mind. You know the famous analogy given by Swami Vivekananda about the nature of the mind. What is the nature of the mind? Swami Vivekananda compares mind with a monkey. Monkey by nature is restless. So mind is restless. By nature it is restless. Now think of a monkey who is by nature restless. Now it is overdrunk. It has drunk red wine too much. And then it has lost control over itself. Then a scorpion has stung it. Scorpion of jealousy and other things has stung it. Then it has started jumping. Then Swami Vivekananda adds some more spice to it and says, a demon has entered it finally. So he says, what is the condition of the poor monkey? This is the nature of our mind. So it is very difficult to control this mind, and therefore it is very difficult to study it. And unless we put this fellow under general anesthesia, it will be difficult to find the anatomy of it. Now, putting this under anesthesia, what we get? As I discussed the superconscious mind and the conscious mind, I have not talked much about this subconscious mind. Actually, that is the thing in discussion. Subconscious mind, that is the hard disk portion, where all the impressions are stored. Subconscious mind has all the impressions. With the help of the conscious mind, we can create some impressions on the subconscious mind. We have inherited some impressions from our previous births. That is how we are different from each other. So the subconscious mind has a store of the past impressions. It gathers the present impressions. And another thing has come to light through the discovery of modern science, modern medical science, that this subconscious mind is ever awake. They have found through many case studies that in the operation theater, when the patient is under general anesthesia, the doctor and the nurses, they sometimes speak about the condition of the case. They say the case is hopeless, the survival chance is very, very less, like that. Now they have seen if the atmosphere in the operation theater is not inspiring, then the post-operation recuperation of the patient becomes delayed. It becomes very slow. But in spite of the condition of the case, if the doctor and the nurses speak enthusiastically, inspiringly, then the post-operation recuperation becomes very fast. They have seen it. Therefore, it is proved that this subconscious mind steals impression when the conscious mind is under anesthesia. When the conscious mind is unconscious under the spell of anesthesia, the subconscious mind records facts. This has been proved earlier also. I will come to that. I will give you two examples from two different sources. You must have heard the name of Jim Corbett. You know, he was one of the greatest hunters. He lived in India for a long time. Almost most of the part of his life he lived in India. He lived in the wild surroundings, and he had the habit of understanding the movement of the animals, particularly the ferocious animals like tigers and others. So he has written a very significant idea in his book, Jungle Lore, that is a famous book. There he has written, once he was going for some work through the forest. He was unmindful of the impending danger. A tiger was lurking behind a bush. He was unmindful. He did not know, but always that he was a person who would be always cautious about things and alert about things. But that day he was not alert. But afterwards he discovered that he did not go along the way he decided to go. He took a detour at some point. And he discovered it because of some red dust which was sticking to his boots. Then he decided to probe into the matter, why it has happened, why he has taken a different route. Then he came back and saw that before he walked along that road, a tiger walked before him and was lurking behind a bush. Now Jim Corbett took a detour before that and reached his place. So he says, I cannot explain this. People may say it is a sixth sense, but I don't understand what is the meaning of the sixth sense. So he gave a beautiful term to this phenomenon. He says, this I call jungle sensitivity. It is a very, very important thing he has discovered. Because he lived under constant fear in the forest, his subconscious mind has developed the power to save him when his conscious mind was not aware. That is the reality of the subconscious mind. And then I would give you a very famous example from Sri Ramakrishna's life. Swami Vivekananda, as a young man, Noren, he wanted to test Sri Ramakrishna, his aversion to wealth, money, gold. So he put coins below his bed, below Sri Ramakrishna's bed. Sri Ramakrishna himself did not know anything about it. He came and sat on that place and jumped up as if being stung by a scorpion. Now see the phenomenon. Here, this conscious mind was not aware of the fact, but the subconscious mind, which was so much trained about these things, saved him when it was needed. So it is the subconscious mind which is very important. And that is why all the philosophies, particularly yoga, they teach how to train up this subconscious mind. We have talked about the reaction of the mind. Suppose somebody gives us a kick and we also give back with 2 kicks, 3 kicks, whatever it may be. But you see, the small child's baby comes to the mother and kicks the mother. Does the mother kick the baby in return? No. Mother knows that this is the baby and she knows how to restrict herself. Similarly, when a very strong man, suppose a weak person is there and we are going and he gives me a blow, I would give another blow because I know he is weak. But suppose a strong man is standing and I go and he gives me a blow, then I say, okay, thank you, like that. Because I know I cannot react. If I react, what will happen, that also I know. So this has been due to some training. We have understood how not to react. This is the way we have to take to train up the mind. With the help of the conscious mind, we can train up our unconscious mind, subconscious mind. I am not using the word unconscious because it is a state of the conscious mind itself. When the conscious mind is under anesthesia, it becomes unconscious. There is no separate existence of an unconscious mind. So, now coming to our point, how to train up this mind. I talked about a thing which is called want. Inside us, a want is created. So a kind of deficiency is found. I would give you an example. Suppose there is a wooden box. We have a box. Inside it there is light. Now we wanted to cover up the whole light to make it dark. But suddenly in this dark room we have that box. Suddenly there is a hole through which light is coming out. Now what do we want? What do we want to do with this light which is coming out? Is small spark, a small light ray is coming out through the hole. What do we want? If we want darkness, we will close it. If we want more light, we will break open the case and the whole thing will be lighted. This is the case with our want. And this is the case. The box is like our samskaras, our past impressions and present impressions. They are blocking the light all around. But the light is so powerful, it is percolating through some holes. This, in the Bible, Christ calls the small, what is that? Small spark within, something like that. Exact sentence I am not able to remember. I will remember it later. I will tell. So, this small voice within means it is very small, but it is there. It is announcing its presence. Now, what we want? If we want more darkness, we will close it. If we want more light, we will break open the box. So this is the kind of want we are suffering from. What we want exactly? Do we really want this kind of liberation from the bondage of the mind? There is a beautiful sentence written by Rabindranath Tagore in his Gitanjali, which got the Nobel Prize. It is so nice about the mind. With reference to the mind, we can use this so nicely. He has written, "My debts are large, my failures great, my shame secret and heavy. These are all my past. My debts are large, my failures are great, my shame secret and heavy. Whatever I have done in my life, even I cannot disclose those things to my nearest people. Shame secret and heavy. Yet when I come to ask for my good, I quake in fear. I quake in fear not because I have got so much baggage to carry. I quake in fear lest it should be granted. Lest it should be granted. We are really afraid lest God gives us the realization, then what will happen to so many things which we have acquired, our name and fame, where this individuality will go. So whether we want it, that is the first question. And if we want it, then we have to make the whole bigger. Christ says, the still small voice within. The still small voice within. So that is trying to manifest itself, but we are not allowing it. But it won't leave us. It will go on pestering us. Now this is a situation which has been explained as a helpless situation for common people. There are three types of people in this world. One type is the materialists. They have no problem, they have no question. Another type, pure spiritualists. They have also no question. They don't ask any question. They don't suffer from doubts and other things. But the majority of the people belong to another group. They are called religious materialists. They are called religious materialists like us, who try to go with the matter, also at the same time cannot deny the still small voice within. Then the scriptures say majority of the people belong to this class. What would be our fate? Scriptures say, if you are in this group, you are blessed. That is the hope given by the scriptures. You are blessed because this is what is called spiritual life. This is a big struggle between these two ends. And this is what is spiritual life all about. There is no other special spiritual life. It is the spiritual life which fights with one and tries to get out of it. So the scriptures say you are blessed. Then what to do to get out of this helplessness? Sri Krishna was asked by Arjuna. Arjuna was a great warrior. He was also taught the scriptures. He knew. In olden days, you will see in the Ramayana and Mahabharata in India, they have these teachings. Some instances are given where the big fighters, like Bhima, he had great physical strength. But the two people who have got great physical strength, before they start fighting, they had to be warmed up. The people from this group will abuse that person. And from his group, they will abuse this person. so that they are warmed up. In spite of their physical strength, they had the mental strength to keep that physical strength under control. So therefore, Arjuna was such a person. He was so physically, he was one of the greatest archers, and he studied the scriptures also. He knew the ideas about life. But at the same time, he felt helpless. He represented the whole of humanity, and he asked this question, how helplessly we have to sacrifice ourselves to the bad will of our mind, he asked. Then Sri Krishna says it is not a very new question or a unique question or a unique situation that Arjuna was facing. It is common to all. Therefore, his suggestion was also to be followed by all. So we come back to this point, how we can tide over this crisis, how we should want more light, how we should change, give a new direction to our want. They say there is a phrase which is called pleasure pursuit, which eats up our willpower. It is the will which should achieve this feat, that we want light. But this willpower is being eaten up by something which is called pleasure pursuit. Here we have to understand the situation. We want enjoyment. The scripture should not deny enjoyment to us as long as we are individuals living in this world. It is permitted to be in this world, but it is not permitted to be of this world. That is the idea in the scriptures. We are permitted to live in this world, but not to be of this world. So, enjoyment is permitted to that extent. It helps us, it does not injure us. There are three words which explain the three varieties of enjoyment. The joy we derive using our physical body is called pleasure. The joy we derive using our mind is called joy. The joy we derive using our spiritual being is called bliss. Spiritual joy is called bliss, mental joy is called joy, and physical joy is called pleasure. Now, the equation stands like this. Physical pleasure is inferior to mental joy. Mental joy is inferior to spiritual bliss. Similarly, the other way, spiritual bliss is superior to mental joy is superior to physical pleasure. Therefore, we should not use the physical body in such a manner that it takes away our mental joy. We should not use the physical body in such a manner that it reduces our mental joy. You have got lot of such instances in this world that misusing the physical body we lose our mental joy, and therefore the number of psychiatrists are increasing throughout the world. There are more doctors than patients nowadays. And then if we understand this, then we know that we should not spend $10 to earn $2 to get back $2 in exchange. No fool will do that. Therefore, the scriptures say it is very simple equation. Try to understand that don't use your physical body in such a manner that it takes away your mental joy. Don't use your intellect in such a manner that it takes away your spiritual bliss. If we understand this, then we understand what is beneficial for us. And this is the best selfish idea we can have. The selfish idea we have in this world, they are really self-consuming. Rather, we ourselves sacrifice ourselves to the fate of that selfish idea. But this is the best selfish idea, that we should not injure ourselves, we should not harm ourselves. Now, there are a few equations we need to explain. Sometimes situations arise where we have to choose between two things which are almost similar. What to do? We have to choose. Sometimes situations arise that we have to choose between two bad things. What to do? We have to choose. I will give you an example. At childbirth, sometimes situation comes that the doctor asks, either the mother will survive or the baby will survive. What do you want? If you save the baby, you kill the mother. If you save the mother, you kill the baby. But you have to decide. So we have to take a decision based on various calculations. We do decide. Therefore, situations will arise in practical life when we have to find out which one is greater. They say sometimes we are very much satisfied with good things. In English there is a saying, the good is the worst enemy of the best. Because we have got something, okay, it's good, then we don't strive for something better or best. So good is the worst enemy of the best. Therefore, here they say, this willpower has to be strengthened. That we have to say a no to things which are harmful to us. A simple no, it is just a no. We say no to many things, like young children you will see. When the parents say get up early in the morning, they say no, I sleep 1-2 hours more, like that. So just a simple no we have to say. Things which are injurious to us, harmful to us. The Yoga Sutra and Vedanta call it a kind of withdrawal, uparati, renunciation, vairagya, means dispassion towards things which are not necessary or injurious to us. There is a famous saying by Socrates, Socrates went round the marketplace of Athens and came back with a momentous discovery. He was a person who used to discover many things. And he was so like a small child he used to behave. He came back with a momentous discovery. What did he discover? He said, there are so many things in the market which I do not need. That was his discovery. There are so many things in the supermarket or malls which they are not sufficient to fulfill our needs in present day context. But Socrates, when he did not have the fortune around a mall, but the little thing he saw in Athens market, he said, there are so many things in the market which I do not need. That is what is called renunciation, or uparati, means withdrawal, or saying no to things which are not necessary, which are injurious to us, harmful to us. This is the only way. Yoga Sutra gives a beautiful example. We will try to give a concrete example based on the Yoga Sutra's ideas. It is like, suppose there is a rectangular grass lawn, and I cross this lawn diagonally daily. I go on crossing the lawn, and a path will be created diagonally. The grasses will die and it won't look good. So what shall I do? This is what I was doing. Now what shall I do? So I can do many things. People who are believers in God, they can very well pray to the grass, always going along the path and praying to the grasses. Oh grass, please grow, please grow, please grow. Will the grass grow? So what we have to do? To stop walking. Then the grasses will grow automatically. Yoga Sutra says, Prakritya Apurat. The nature has its own power to fill up the things like defects. So you should not walk. Just do this favor. Don't walk along that line. Then the grasses will grow automatically. So the way is that we have to stop walking. Saying no to things, whatever painful it may be, but it is good for us. We run after immediate gains or immediate pleasure. That is why we suffer. It says that look at the ultimate benefit and try to be a mature person to choose, and go on saying no to things which are harmful to you. The more we say no to things, the more we grow in willpower. The more we say no to things, the more we grow in willpower. There is a funny story. A drunkard used to be always scolded by people at home that why do you drink so much like that. So he had some bad sense. He thought, look, okay, let me try this time. I won't drink. So while walking along the road, he decided he won't open the eyes until he crosses the uh, shop, wine shop. So he closed the eyes and went. And after a long time, when he opened the eyes, he saw he has already crossed that shop, and another cloth shop was there. He crossed that also. Then he felt very happy. Oh, how strong my mind has become. So, as a gift, today 2 bottles. Just 2 bottles. This is a fact in our life. We try to do things. After some time, okay, we have done it. Now let us resume. Like smoking. I know people who left smoking many times, but resumed it. That is why many times. So like that it happens. This is the helplessness. So they say grow in willpower, saying no, continuous no to a thing which harms you. So this is to a treatment given to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind dictates with all the past impressions. If we do not feed it with its food, then slowly the things will die out. They die out like the seeds which are kept for a long time and not shown, and later they lose their germinating power. So once we take up the path, which is a good path or a beneficial path, then the other part of our karma or our impressions will slowly be forgotten and they will die. So that is the way to train the subconscious mind. I think I have taken much time, so I don't have much time. And we stop here. Sometimes we feel very helpless in another sense because this still small voice is very small. It is so small that they say if you pour butter into fire, it grows, the fire increases. But if you pour a lot of butter together, then the fire is put off, like that, goes out. But here in this case, the still small voice is so small that it is difficult for us to move with this. There is a beautiful example. The case is not so hopeless as we think. The beautiful example is that suppose we have a small candle in our hand which can illumine 2 feet all around or 2 meters, and we have to walk 3 kilometers through the tunnel which is pitch dark. Through the tunnel we have to walk. If we calculate, the candle cannot illumine the whole stretch of the path. It is so small, the darkness is so big, it may be 340,000 quintals of darkness there. So how to go with this small candle? The scriptures say, you start walking. The small candle has the power to keep 2 meters always illumined. You don't need more to know. Just start walking, the small candle has the power to take you across. So this is the thing. This still small voice is so powerful that it will keep us going if we start walking. Therefore, in this idea of training up the subconscious mind, we have to understand that our power is not so small. I would remember a beautiful sentence told by Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. For some time I could not understand the meaning. Afterwards I really appreciated it. One devotee asked Mother. The devotee took initiation from Holy Mother, who they regarded as the goddess, Divine Mother. She asked, Mother, I have taken initiation from you. Do I require to do japa? Then Mother told, why not? God has given you so beautiful fingers. What is the meaning of that? Fingers. Now I did not understand why she told like that until I read a Beautiful sentence. Some great person has told, I don't know the source, but he used to complain to his father. This is the quotation. I used to complain to my parents that I had no good shoes until I saw a man who had no legs. Who had no legs. So how fortunate we are that God has given us 5 beautiful fingers, and still we complain that we are not that much privileged. So this still small voice is very powerful to take us across, provided we start taking these steps. Thank you. Namaste.